ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ अज्ञानातिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप गदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते जयपताक स्वामिने नामने नमः। आचार्य पदाय निताय कृपा प्रदायिने गौरवता नामदाय नगर रामदाय। Yeah. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to our weekly Saturday morning Bhagavatam session. So, firstly, thanks a lot to all the Vaishnavas. My sincere gratitude to His Grace Premdat Chaitanya Prabhu and all the assembled Vaishnavas for overlooking all my shortcomings and giving me with this wonderful opportunity to serve all of you through the medium of Srimad Bhagavatam. And I understand it is very, very difficult for us to, be present for this class, right? Even though it's virtually, to because it is a Saturday morning after a hectic week, right? And given the Bangalore weather, and we have an exciting event to look forward to after this session, so all of us must be gearing up for that. I'm very surprised to see even Achyut Prabhu here, right? It shows your dedication and your enthusiasm to hear Bhagavatam. But it is true that it's not very easy. It is very difficult, right? So once there was this nun, a Christian nun, who had dedicated her entire life to preaching the message of the Lord, right? So she went to the gates of heaven to knock on the gates of heaven and get inside. And she was stopped there by Saint Peter. Now, Saint Peter is a very popular figure in Christianity. He is considered to be the first pope, but more famously, he's known in Christianity as the gatekeeper of heaven. So you can look at him as the Jai Vijay of Christianity of sorts, right? So he was the gatekeeper and he stopped her and he said, I need to check your records. And he checked all her records and he said, sorry, no entry inside. Please go back. You will have to go back and try one more time. You can't come in. So she was very surprised. She was very dejected. She was looking, thinking, what happened? What went wrong? I know everything. I served my whole life so nicely. So she was walking back with her head down. While she was walking back, she saw another man passed her. And this man, he was actually a taxi driver throughout his life. And he went to the gates of heaven. Saint Peter, he checked his records and he said, yeah, sure, please go in. You can go inside heaven, right? Now, this woman got furious. She got very angry, right? And she went to St. Peter and she said, hey, what nonsense is this? Call your manager, call your boss, right? I want to talk. I want to escalate this. So then God was called there. And this nun, she asked God, she confronted God. How unfair is this? I've dedicated my youth, my entire life, my family, my property, my intelligence, everything I've dedicated in speaking your message all over, right, to all the people, in preaching your holy name, preaching your message. And you say, I am not allowed in? How is this possible? And God tells her, it is because every time you opened your mouth to speak, people slept off. People barely listened whatever you spoke. You put everybody to sleep. Nobody was listening. So she said, "Oh, okay, okay, that is fine. Then how come this taxi driver got in? What, he never chanted your name or he didn't do anything. How did he get in?" So God said, whenever he would drive a taxi, the passengers who were sitting behind would remember and pray me even more. right? When they were sitting behind. Because of his dangerous driving, their surrender and absorption in me increased significantly. And because he was an instrument in connecting so many people to me, that is why he's coming back, right? So uh, I hope that all of you will not make me want to come back as a taxi driver again, because I understand it's very, very difficult. That too, we are joining virtually. We can be on the bed and attend this call, or we can make our preparations, start getting ready. We can do all of that while attending this call. But if we just reflect on this one statement of Bhagavatam, right? Janmantare kritam punyam tada Bhagavatam labet, which means that Janma Antare, at the end of many, many lifetimes of gaining pious credits and devotional credits, one gets the chance to associate with Srimad Bhagavatam. A living entity comes in contact with Srimad Bhagavatam, right? And for all of us, this is that moment. This is the moment where we are able to come together and discuss Harikatha, discuss Srimad Bhagavatam, right? It's like in a marathon race, the runner, they run for a very long time, but when they come towards the finish line, they don't start gasping and they don't stop there thinking, I'm done. I've run a lot. I can't run now. They don't do that. When they come closer to the finish line, you will see they start running even more faster towards the finish line. It's called sprinting. They sprint towards the finish line, right? For us, we've been running a marathon for a very long time. We don't know, each one of us here, how many thousands and millions of lifetimes we've gone through to reach this point today, where we have a human form of life, we have received the gift of bhakti, we have Vaishnava Sangha, we have Srimad Bhagavatam in our life, we have Harinam, we have Guru Kripa, we have all of these things, right? We are right at the threshold of eternity where we can just cross over, right? The finish line is very close. And at this moment, we need to put that one last, final, decisive sprint of devotional service so that we just cross over the finish line, right? And not lapse here. So, with that, in that mood, let us try to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam today, right? So, we'll be hearing from third canto, 22nd chapter. I'll just give a brief context of how we reached till 22nd chapter, what happens in third canto. We saw in the first four chapters of third canto that Vidura meets Uddhava and receives instruction from Uddhava to go and meet Maitreya Muni. From the fifth chapter onwards, Vidura meets Maitreya Muni and he starts hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Maitreya Muni. By Maitreya Muni discussed various topics like Mahavishnu creating this material universe, then Mahavishnu entering inside this material universe, and then the birth of Brahma, the prayers of Brahma, the instructions of the Lord to Brahma, right? Then the creation of this material universe, secondary creation by Lord Brahma, right? And after explaining all of that, Maitri Muni, by the questions of Vidura, he gets deviated into the description of Vaikuntha and then the pastime of Varahadev. And after all of that, Maitri Muni comes back into the creation of Brahma and he talks about how Brahma had a son by the name Swayambhu Manu. And this Manu, Swayambhu Manu, he got married to his wife Shatarupa. Both Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa were manifested from Brahma directly, right? And both of them had five children, two sons by the name Uttanapad and Priyavrata, and three daughters by the name Akuti, Devahuti, and Prasuti, right? And Vidura asks about the lineage of these five children. What was their life? What was their activities? What happened? And this description Maitreya Muni gives from the third canto, 21st chapter, till the fifth canto, 15th chapter, right? About all five children. Now, from third canto, 21st chapter, till the end of third canto, till the 33rd chapter, is the description of the life and activities of Mother Devahuti, who was one of the daughters of Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa, right? So this 21st chapter we saw, right? This contained 49 shlokas, and here it starts with the background that Kardama Muni, who is the son of Brahma, receives an instruction from Brahma. Brahma had created this material universe, and now he wanted to expand the population. That was his next goal, next target. So he created Kardama Muni and he gave him the instruction that you get married, you have progeny, and you expand this population. Now, before getting married, after receiving this instruction, Kardamuni, he performs devotional service, but very intense, austere devotional service, right, of the class of like Dhruva Maharaj. So very, very intense, austere devotional service. And he does this for 10,000 years in a place called Bindu Sarovar. Now, this place, Bindu Sarovar, is also explained in this chapter as a very, very beautiful pond, a very beautiful place which is filled with the waters of river Saraswati, and it contained the tears of the Lord when the Lord became overwhelmed with the devotion and love of his devotees. So with those tears, it was enhanced. The spiritual nature of this place was enhanced, and it was very beautiful with wonderful trees, very sattvic birds, sattvic animals. The whole ambience was an ambience of goodness. And sages generally choose such places because it is conducive for performing austerities and for controlling the mind and senses and everything and engaging them in the devotional service of the Lord. If the ambience is very rajasic or tamasic, very passionate, ignorant, it's very difficult to sustain in our bhakti, in our sadhana, right? So Kardama Muni chose this wonderful place called Bindu Sarovar and performed austerities for 10,000 years. And the Supreme Lord became pleased with his devotion and personally came to him to bestow his mercy upon Kardama Muni. And the Supreme Lord came on the back of Garuda. Right? And Maitreya Muni explains how beautiful was the Lord when he came on the back of Garuda. The Lord was looking very effulgent. He had white garlands. He was wearing yellow garments, bright, effulgent yellow garments. He was holding various paraphernalia in his hand, Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma, and all the weapons. This Kaustubha Mani and his beautiful crown, earrings. He was looking very, very effulgent. He had his hands on the shoulder of Garuda, leaning down as Garuda came swooning down here on this planet, right? And once Kardama Muni saw the Lord, he was overwhelmed. He offered obeisances to the Lord and he offered heartfelt prayers to the Lord. Right? Kardama Muni said that the perfection of our eyes, the perfection of our vision is to have darshan of the beautiful form of the Lord, right? Which he had at this point. So then he says that less intelligent people, they worship you for some cheap material thing. Right. This is explained by Krishna in the seventh chapter, ninth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, how devotees, how materialistic people, they approach various Devi Devatas to get material, benefits in return. But Krishna also calls them as less intelligent in the seventh chapter and ninth chapter, 25th verse of the Bhagavad Gita as well. Right. So here as well, Kardama Muni says that people of less intelligence, they approach you for materialistic things. And he says, "Oh Lord, I am also less intelligent. Why? Because I have done all this tapasya for 10,000 years and brahmacharya and all of this so that I can, get a good wife, a suitable wife. And I've done this devotional service to get a wife from you, right? And then, now here he says, I wanted a wife to fulfill the instructions of Lord Brahma, right? So it's very important for us to understand here that it was not sense gratification of Kardama Muni. Because oftentimes in this world, when we make mistakes, when others make mistakes, we become the judge. And when we make mistakes, we become a lawyer trying to defend. It wasn't like this. This was not like this. We become very defensive, right? But, if we shouldn't commit that offense here because Kardama Muni, and we'll see his life as well, how glorious a devotee he was. But he was only fulfilling the instructions of Brahma to expand the population. And where did Brahma get that instruction from? He got it from Krishna himself. So, in that sense, Kardama Muni is only being an instrument in fulfilling the instructions, the will of the Supreme Lord for his pleasure. Right? He wasn't doing it for sense gratification. So the Lord said that I'm very pleased with your devotion, and whatever you're asking for is already granted. Day after tomorrow, a person, a king by the name Swayambhu Manu, who is the ruler of this entire planet, will personally come walking to you with his good wife Shatarupa and his beautiful young daughter named Devahuti, and he'll give his daughter's hand in marriage to you. Right? And this woman Devahuti has wonderful good qualities, and her qualities are very compatible with you. Both of you will be suitable for each other. And he says that through this woman, Mother Devahuti, both of you, through your union, you will beget 9 daughters. So in that way, your service to Brahma will be completed. Right? So Kardamuni becomes very happy. So he got what he had asked for, he prayed for. It is end of the matter there. Krishna, being merciful, he said, even though you did not ask for it, I'm giving you one more boon. I'm so impressed by your devotion that I will personally come as your son, as Kapila Muni. Right? So the Lord, in one sense, he was arranging the marriage of his own parents. Right? Kardamuni and Devahuti were his parents in the form of Kapila Dev. So the Lord said this and he departed. And Kardamuni was very happy. And as per the words of the Lord, in just 2 days, Swayambhu Manu came there to that place. He personally came, walked to Kardamuni to that place, and he started having a conversation with Kardamuni. And Kardamuni receives Swayambhu Manu with great honor and respect. And this part, it shows how Brahmanas and Kshatriyas need to work together with great respect for each other. Because for any spiritual knowledge to become a social norm, it is important for the Brahmana, which is the intellectual class, and the Kshatriya, which is the administrative class. It is important that both of them accept it together, right? And we've discussed this earlier as well, how Buddhism was previously only practiced by renunciates like Buddha himself, Gautam Buddha himself. People who wanted to leave everything, go to the forest, they would take up Buddhism. But when Ashoka adopted it, when so many other kings adopted it, and when they made it, then they practiced this in their life, then it became a mainstream religion of sorts, right? Similarly, in Gaudiya Vaishnavism, we see the role of Prataparudra Maharaj and Mahaprabhu giving him so much of time, attention, mercy, right? So, not just spiritual norms, even in materialistic ideas like communalism, socialism, all of these remain vague ideas until a ruling government adopts this framework, this idea, right? Then it becomes prevalent in the entire society. Like China and Russia, all of them adapt communism, and that becomes a popular social norm. Otherwise, it's very difficult to propagate. So that is why the Brahmana and Kshatriya class coming together is very important. And here we see how wonderfully Kardamuni and Swayambhu Manu they interact. Kardamuni glorifies Swayambhu Manu as a king, as a wonderful king who is a representative of Vishnu, and he perfectly upholds Varnashrama Dharma in his kingdom. So he tells him that you have personally walked into my hermitage. Now you please tell me how can I serve you? I will fulfill any desire that you have, right? And with this conversation ends the 21st chapter, and now we start the 22nd chapter of the third canto. This chapter consists of 39 shlokas. First 7 shlokas, Manu responds to Kardamuni, where he says, and he glorifies Kardamuni, saying, now, Brahma has created you, a wonderful, ideal Brahmana, right? And you are a perfect preservator and propagator of spiritual culture and spiritual knowledge. And Kshatriyas, they are supposed to protect the interest of Brahmanas and serve the Brahmanas. So you please tell me, with that mood of serving you and fulfilling your interests, I've come here and I've got this wonderful fortune of having your association. And then from 8th shloka to 14th shloka, Swayambhu Manu offers his daughter's hand in marriage to Kardama Muni. He says, after this glorification, then he comes to the point that I've come here to offer my daughter's hand in marriage to you. And you are a Upakurvana Brahmachari, right? You are not a Naishtika Brahmachari that you have dedicated your entire life for being celibate. You've not done that, right? You are looking for a suitable girl, and my daughter, is very suitable for you for marriage. So please consider her, right? And then from the 15th shloka to the 20th shloka, Kardama Muni, he glorifies Mother Devahuti. He readily accepts this proposal. He glorifies her beauty, her character, and he tells how even Gandharvas get mesmerized by the beauty of Mother Devahuti. And then he says, on only one condition, I will marry your daughter, and it is that I will stay with her only as long as she gives birth to all our children. Once they're there and once they have grown up, I'll leave household life and I'll walk into the forest to practice devotional service full time. So And then he says how my first, as a human being, in the human form of life, my first duty is towards Vishnu, and I want to fulfill that duty. And until then, I will lead the Grahastha life as a service to Vishnu. So in this way, he starts talking, and then Kardama Muni becomes silent, and he closes his eyes and he starts meditating on the Lord, being carried away by the emotions, by his devotion. And Mother Devahuti looks at this, and even Swayambhu Manu, Shatarupa, they get very impressed by the devotion of Kardama Muni, and they all agree to this condition, right? So then Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa, they get their daughter married to Kardama Muni right there. They give a lot of gifts to their daughter, and being completely overwhelmed with love and affection for his daughter, Swayambhu Manu, he embraces her, he leaves her in the protection of Kardama Muni, and then he starts walking back towards his kingdom, right? So his kingdom was it was called Brahmavarta. And then 28th shloka to the last shloka, 39th shloka, Manu's wonderful rule and his household life, his grastha life is explained. How Manu was a Rajarishi. He was a great soul, like Ambarish Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, Bharat Maharaj, and so many of these wonderful Janak Maharaj, all of these Mahajanas, these wonderful kings who were all Rajarishis. So Raja means king or external ruler, one who rules externally, and Rishi is a sage who rules internally. And Rajarishi is both of them in one person, one who rules both externally and internally, right? So the citizens of Brahmavarta, they very cordially welcomed Swayambhu Manu. And when Varahadeva appeared, a few of his hairs had fallen into this kingdom of Brahmavarta, and they started growing as kusha grass. And Swayambhu Manu would use these kusha grass to worship the Supreme Lord. Always, although he had all the opulences, all the people at his disposal, his family, his wife, his children, everything was there around him. But never did he get distracted by all these opulences. He was fixed, completely absorbed in hearing about the Lord and propagating the message of the Lord. He gave the Manu Samhita. He gave instructions to his subjects and to the rest of the world as well. And in the 37th verse, Bhagavatam makes a very important point here that no miseries can bind a devotee who's practicing devotional service into the Lord. Right? Now, this is a very striking and wonderful statement by the Shastras that no miseries can bind even when the devotee is inside the material world. Now, this is very amusing. So now we'll try to elaborate on this one point and reflect on this point through a very beautiful pastime of Srimad Bhagavatam. How is this possible, right? That miseries cannot bind us, because it's like saying you are inside water, inside an ocean or inside a pool, but you are not getting wet, right? Which is very striking, very contradictory. How is this possible? Someone staying in this material world, they are not bound by miseries, right? So we'll try to understand this through this wonderful pastime from the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. This pastime is so glorious and so wonderful. It has been sung by from thousands and thousands of years by not just the devotees of the Lord, but also the non-devotees. Because this is a pastime which gives great hope and enthusiasm and inspiration to all the living entities in serving the Lord and in developing devotion for the Lord. Right? This is from the second, third, and fourth chapter of 8th canto, and this is the pastime of Gajendra, the elephant. Right? Most of us are aware with the storyline, but today, more than the storyline, we'll try to delve deep into understanding this one point of how miseries in this material world come and what should be our response to it. And how can we be like Swayambhu Manu, where we can reach a stage where miseries are no longer binding us. That is the broader theme that we'll try to reflect in the next 20-25 minutes or so, right? So Bhagavatam describes that there was this beautiful place called the Trikuta mountain. This Trikuta mountain is explained abundantly in all the Shastras, that Kuta means peaks. It had three primary peaks. One was made of gold, one was made of silver, and one was made of iron. And this place, right, Trikuta mountain, was a true heavenly paradise. It was filled with lush greenery, beautiful plants and trees, and it had flowers which were so colorful and so fragrant, uniquely fragrant. And the fragrance of every flower was not diminishing the fragrance of other flower, but it was just enhancing each other's fragrances. And the whole place became so fragrant and so relishable, and the fruits were so exotic, so juicy, right? So in this way, this place was an absolute paradise. There were lakes of nectar, of milk, of so much, wonderful place, right? And in this heart of this Trikuta mountain was a garden called Ritumat Garden. And inside that garden, there was this elephant which was walking. It wasn't any ordinary elephant. It was Gajendra. Gaja Indra. Gaja means elephant, and Gajendra is the king of elephants. And he was not just the king of elephants, he was the king of all the living entities there. Right? He was the king of the jungle for the Trikuta mountains. And all the lower living entities, like the harmless ones, like rabbits and deers and all of them, they felt sheltered and protected under Gajendra in this place, because even the lions and tigers, they were not allowed to hunt in Trikuta mountain. If they want to do that, they have to go out, hunt, and come back. But here, everybody should be peaceful because Gajendra is watching over them. Gajendra is ruling. So in this way, everybody felt sheltered, protected. And Gajendra was taking a stroll with all his family members, his many, many wives, his children, right? And this elephant body, they were all walking and walking, walking, no matter how strong he is. It is a material body. It gets tired, it gets thirsty. So they go into this beautiful lake right in the heart of the Ritumat garden. And this lake was filled with clear, crystal clear, pristine water. The apsaras used to come and take bath here. So there was a tinge of beautiful fragrance, wonderful fragrance and effulgence and sparkle to this water. This water had many golden lotuses, and Bhagavatam describes while the family members waited outside, Gajendra went inside this lake. He drank this water. It was perfect temperature. The water was, like temperature controlled of sorts naturally, right? And Gajendra had this water. He drank this water. Then he picked up this water and he sprinkled this water over all his family members, right? And it fell over his family members, and family members got the soothing touch of the water. But more than the water, they were swaying in the loving emotions, loving exchanges that they were having with Gajendra, and Gajendra was having with the family members. And seeing the family members happy, Gajendra was becoming more happy, and seeing Gajendra more happy, family members are more happy, smiling a lot more, relishing a lot more. And in this beautiful exchange of loving emotions between family members, something very unfortunate happened, right? All of a sudden, something that they never imagined would happen. A crocodile came and caught the leg of Gajendra. It sank its teeth inside the leg of Gajendra. At the height of pleasure, this is what happened. A problem came in, right? And all the other elephants tried to pull Gajendra out, but it did not work. And after a while, they waited, thinking, okay, Gajendra himself will come out. That also didn't happen. And they gave up. They said, thank you for all your services. And they went back, right? We'll pause here and we'll reflect upon the learnings that we can take from the past time till this point, right? Lesson number one: the material world hits us at a moment when we least expect it to hit us, right? To attack us. In the middle of all the name, fame, comfort, luxury, everything going our way, and we think, I am the king, I'm the Badshah, I'm the ruler, nothing can take me down right now. I have good bank balance, good family, everything is sorted, nothing can hit me. And that is when material world hits us. In the Manas, in the beginning, there's this wonderful story when Narada Muni once he goes and he does intense austerities, tapasya, like Kardama Muni. But his tapasya was so strong, Narada Muni's tapasya, Indra got scared. Whenever somebody does tapasya, Indra gets scared. So he sent his apsaras. And just by the tinkle, by the sound of the ankle bells of apsaras, greatest sages like Vishwamitra Muni and others, they get agitated and their tapasya breaks. Narada Muni was steadfast in his devotion towards the Lord. He did not break. Indra sent Kamadev, Cupid himself, but Narada Muni's devotion did not break. And he successfully completed his tapasya, his austerities, and he was blessed by the Lord. Now Narada Muni came out, and the moment he came out, all the Indra and all the Devi Devatas, they fell at the lotus feet of Narada Muni and they glorified Narada Muni. Oh, you are such a Param Vaishnava, you are a Maha Vaishnava, Maha Bhagavat. How wonderfully you are so absorbed, you did not get deviated. We are all inspired by you. Narada Muni thought, okay, they are making sense actually. I am very good, right? I did not get deviated. True only, correct only, right? Then he goes to Lord Shiva and he tells Lord Shiva, and he gives all these updates. You know what happened? I was doing tapasya and Indra sent Apsaras and Kamadev and everybody, but nothing affected my devotion. And I was so strong in my devotion that I completed my bhakti, my austerity. Right? So Shiva heard all of this. Now, Lord Shiva is a Param Vaishnava, Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu, right? And devotees of the Lord are like agents of Vamanadev. When Vamanadev came as a dwarf to Bali Maharaj, Vamanadev said, Bali Maharaj asked, I'm so attracted by you. What do you want? Vamanadev said, just 3 feet land. Whatever land my 3 feet will cover, that's all I want. Bali Maharaj said, "Hey, what are you talking? I am the king of all the 3 worlds, all the 3 upper, middle, and lower planets, right? And you can ask anything, ask something that is worthy of me giving. You're asking for 3 feet? That to your chota feet, you're already a dwarf. From your feet, what is possible? What will get covered? So Vamanadev very intelligently says that somebody who is not satisfied with what they have, they will never be happy and satisfied with whatever they get. Right? So he gives this wonderful instruction, but devotees are like that agent of Vamanadev. They will come into our life and they'll be like, "Oh, Prabhuji, you just chant. Don't leave anything. Just accept Krishna. Just chant Harinam. Nothing will happen. That's all, right? Just do this and everything will be sorted in your life." But we know once Krishna enters our life, how he enters our heart, clears our anarthas, transforms our lives and purifies our lives and adds meaning and purpose to it, right? So, Lord Shiva, he saw Narada Muni and he thought, I cannot say anything to Narada Muni. He's a Vaishnava himself. So I'll allow the Lord to perform his Leela. And Shiva said in a very subtle way that, oh, Narada Muni, it is true, you're very glorious. But just remember, it's okay that you came to me and you shared all these stories with me, but don't share this with the Lord. Right? I am just warning you. If you share this with the Lord, you will lose everything. It'll be very dangerous. Don't do that. So Narada Muni thought, okay, if you are warning me so much, I will not talk like this to the Lord. And he goes back. And while going, he's thinking, Arey, why not? Why should I not tell the Lord? He's my worshipable Lord. I did austerities for him. Right? I did not do I was not a thief. I did not do something wrong. Why should I not tell the Lord? Why did Lord Shiva say like that? So he goes to Vaikunta, meets Lord Vishnu, and tells Lord Vishnu about his austerities and everything. And Lord Vishnu says, Oh my God, Narada Muni, wow, how glorious is my devotee. You have upheld the name of Vaishnavas, the glories of Vaishnavas. Very wonderful, you're glorious, right? And he glorified Narada Muni. So Narada Muni came back thinking, Arey, simply Lord Shiva scared me. Nothing, it's fine. It's okay. I have spoken to the Lord and the Lord was very happy, right? So Narada Muni was thinking like that. He came into this planet and he went to a kingdom and he went to the palace of a king by the name Srinidhi. So this king welcomed Narada Muni with a lot of respect and he said, I have one problem. I have a daughter who is of marriageable age. I want to get her married. Can you please give blessings and give some guidance on how to get her married? Right? Give your permission. So Narada Muni said, Yeah, sure. Call your daughter. I'll bless her. So, so he calls Srinidhi, he calls his daughter. His daughter's name was Vishwamohini. She was actually the Maya Shakti of the Lord, the external potency of the Lord. The moment Narada Muni saw Vishwamohini, his mouth became opened, right? And he was just staring at her, googling, like ogling at her, and right, very stunned by her beauty. And he was not talking anything. And Srinidhi had to tap Narada Muni. Hello, Narada Muni. You are going to bless her. Can you please bless her and guide us how to get her married? Narada Muni said, What is there to guide? Just arrange for a Swayamvar, no? Let her choose her groom. So the king said, okay, fine, I'll organize for a Swayamvar. And he called all the best of the Kshatriyas there. Now Narada Muni is thinking, how can I get into this Swayamvar? Because I also want, Vishwamohini. I want her as my wife. So Narada Muni was thinking, and he thought, Arey, I am very thin, frail, beard, right? All of this because 10,000 years I did not eat well. I didn't maintain my body. I was doing severe tapasya. So I'm very thin, fragile. She will not accept me like this. So he thought, I need a body and appearance which is very, very beautiful. He was thinking, whose personality and appearance is the most beautiful? Then he realized, oh, it is Sri Hari. Sri Hari's form is the most beautiful. What can be more beautiful? So he goes back to Vaikuntha and tells the Lord, "Oh Lord, can you please give me your form? Can you please give me your appearance and personality?" He's asking for Sarupya Mukti. Narada Muni says, "Please give me your form." The Lord said, "Okay, Tatastu. You want the form of Hari? Okay, Tatastu." So Narada Muni becomes very confident. He goes back to the palace of Srinidhi, and Narada Muni is staying there. He's standing in the line with all the Kshatriyas. And this Vishwamohini is standing there looking at every Kshatriya. She's looking at them and she's saying, no, next, no. So Kshatriyas are coming in line, and Vishwamohini is saying, no, no, they're all going away. Then Narada Muni is coming, he's almost coming to the front. He's very, very excited, fully confident that Vishwamohini will fall off her feet looking at Narada Muni. And the moment Narada Muni comes in the front, Vishwamohini, she looks at him, she closes her eyes and she says, "Hey, chi, 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 what is this? You go, go, shoo, go." So Narada Muni is shocked. Oh my God, what is this? How can she do this? Then while he's going away, he's thinking, "Oh, maybe there was some light that fell in her eye and she was not able to see properly or something." He quickly joins back in the line and he comes again. And when he comes again in the front, Vishwamohini looks at him and she says, "Oh my God, I just now I said no. Why did he come again?" Right? So Narada Muni was surprised. What happened? How can she not get attracted by the form of Sri Hari? What is this? And while Narada Muni was thinking like this, the Lord came in Garuda there, right? And he came down, and the moment Vishwamoni looked at the Lord, she was fully attracted to the Lord. She accepted him as her husband. She took the garland, ran towards the Lord, put the garland on the Lord, and she sat on the back of Garuda, and the Lord took her back. Right? Looking at this, Narada Muni was flabbergasted. He was shocked, stunned. What is happening? The same form I also had. No, how come she did not get? She got so disgusted looking at me. Then he looked down. There was some water, and he looked at his reflection in that water, and he saw he had the face and the body of a monkey, because in Sanskrit, Hari also means monkey. So he asked the Lord, "Give me the form of Hari." The Lord said, "Tatastu," and he gave the form of a monkey. And Narada Muni got so angry, so angry, so carried away that he cursed the Lord. He cursed the Lord, saying, "You have separated, the woman that I desired. You have separated her from me. So I curse you that you will also be separated from your consort. And not just that, you will, because you cheated me and gave me this form of a monkey, I curse you that you will be forced to take the help of monkeys." Right? He curses this, and then the Lord immediately appears there. Narada Muni, looking at the Lord, he shakes himself and he thinks, "My God, what did I do? I have cursed my own worshipable Lord, right? My Lord, my whole existence is surrendered to your lotus feet, and I've cursed you. How did this happen? How did I fall down?" And the Lord calms him down and he says, "No, no, don't worry, Narada Muni. I've just used you as an instrument, as instrument for one more, incarnation of mine that is going to come very soon in the form of Lord Ramachandra." And Ramcharitmanas says this is one of the reasons why Lord Ram appeared, right? But this is a very instructive pastime of how, right when we are at the peak of our life, whether spiritual or material life, and we are least expecting Maya to hit us, that is when this material nature will hit us. When this outer ring road, right, the white topping was done. It was a nightmare for all of us, right? But the government had a wonderful slogan there. They had written, "Temporary inconvenience, permanent solution." When Srila Prabhupada had seen this sign in US back in 1970s, and he saw this, Srila Prabhupada laughed and he said, "The material world is opposite. It is permanent inconvenience, temporary solutions, and permanent inconvenience. That is how this material world works, right? So it's a place where there is danger in every step. This is what Brahma is declaring as well. Samashrita padapallava plavam mahat padam punya yasho murari bhavam budir vatsa padam param padam 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 yat vipadam natesham. Every step there is danger in this material world. So the first lesson is that material world hits us at a point when we are least expecting it to. The second lesson, now, Gajendra thought initially he'll get freed very easily. How long will the crocodile hold? He's strong. It might hold for a while. Gajendra will trample him, right? But for 1,000 celestial years, the crocodile did not leave Gajendra, right? So this shows us that we need to prepare our consciousness and our mindset, our attitude, our approach, not just for the short-term problems of life, but even long-term problems as well. And most importantly, the lesson to learn from here is If crocodile had caught Gajendra on land, Gajendra would have easily crushed the crocodile or freed himself, or any of the elephants would have crushed the crocodile and freed Gajendra. But because crocodile got Gajendra in the water, which was the habitat, which was the home of the crocodile, and it wasn't the natural home of Gajendra. So there, the crocodile was so strong and so powerful, right? So Gajendra, all his strength did not work, which means we are also, as Jivatmas, we are Tatastha Shakti. We are above Maya Devi because we have consciousness and matter does not have consciousness. But because we are inside the material world, Maya is more strong than living entities, and Maya has a strong hold on living entities, right? So we should always realize that we are fighting this battle in the home ground of Maya and never become proud of anything, whether it is our sadhana, our seva, our bhakti, our position, our prestige, whatever. Never become proud because we are in the home ground of Maya Devi and she can strike us anytime. So the second lesson is never fall prey to pride because we are in the home fighting in the home ground of Maya and she is more stronger than us here, right? And the third lesson for us to learn is that now the elephants, the other elephants of Gajendra, the family members, they had a lot of compassion. They wanted to save Gajendra, but they could not save him. They didn't have the capacity. On the other hand, Bhagavatam explains all the Devi Devatas, they were looking down on Gajendra and they had the capacity to save Gajendra, but they thought Gajendra is not calling out for us, so we'll wait, we'll not save him. So the Devatas had the capacity to save Gajendra, but they didn't have compassion. Family members had compassion, but no capacity. Devatas had capacity, but no compassion. And in this world, we will see when we are undergoing miseries, undergoing problems, there are people around us like that. Very, very, very few people who will have both the capacity and the compassion to protect us, to help us. But even that capacity and that compassion is limited. Only for a while they will do that. After that, they will say, it is your life, you go live. So the only personality in all of material and spiritual creation who has unlimited capacity and unlimited compassion to save us life after life after life is Shri Krishna. The same personality who is going to protect Gajendra as well. And he protects every living entity. So the third lesson is that some might have the capacity but no compassion. Others might have compassion but no capacity. And there might be a few people who have both capacity and compassion, but it is limited. There's only Sri Krishna who has unlimited capacity and unlimited compassion to protect us in this material world where every step is a danger and where Maya Devi can attack us anytime. Right? Now, the fourth lesson. While all of this is true, somehow the spiritualists, the devotees of the Lord, like we saw with the example of Swayambhu Manu as well, somehow they seem to have figured out something in terms of how to deal with the problems of this material world. Because for all of us, the smallest thing, they agitate us. If we go to the Sunday feast program, today we're going to go to Brahmotsav. So many chappals are going to be lined up there. And if we don't find our chappal at the end of the program, that is such a nightmare, right? It is so agitating for us. But even more agitating is if we find one chappal and don't find the other one. We'll be like, somewhere it is here, it is here, it is, there, let me find, right? So we get agitated by the smallest of things and forget all the good things happening in our life, right? That is how we are by nature. But devotees don't seem to be like that, right? Somehow they seem to have cracked it. Prahlad Maharaj underwent so many miseries. He was tortured personally by Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu was so strong that all the Devi Devatas headed by Indra were working as personal servants in the house of Hiranyakashipu. Indra is, like washing clothes. And from washing clothes, if he has to come do dishes, Hiranyakashipu doesn't have to speak. Shastras explain just by the movement of the eyebrows of Hiranyakashipu, Indra used to tremble. Right? And this is how strong, and he had a hold on the entire material universe. Hiranyakashipu was so strong. And that Hiranyakashipu did not put servants to kill Prahlad. He personally put all his mind, his focus, his energy in killing Prahlad. And we know how determined Hiranyakashipu can be. When he performed tapasya to Lord Brahma, the ants, they formed an anthill over him. They ate his body, but still he did not stop, chanting the names of Brahma and calling out to Brahma. He didn't stop his austerity. So that Hiranyakashipu, determined, resolute, he's trying to he's hurting Prahlad Maharaj in every way possible. And Prahlad Maharaj has no complaints, no problems. He's seeing Krishna in every situation. He's smiling very easy, nicely. It's not affecting him at all, right? But what is this? How is Prahlad Maharaj not getting agitated, right? So this is because they have figured out something, right, which we need to understand as well. Many times we ask, why does bad things happen to good people? But the actual question we should be asking is, when bad things happen to good people, what do good people do? How do they respond? And by looking at that, we get a lot of lessons for all of us, right? There was this young devotee in Israel a few decades back. This devotee had just moved to Israel for preaching, and he had become a devotee just 3 4 months back. He wasn't like a strong, stalwart devotee, experienced or anything. Very young, very initial days of bhakti. So he came to Israel to preach, but it was a war scenario at that time. So he was pulled into the army to preach. Right. So he got pulled into the Israeli army and he was thinking, I am a devotee, I am a bhakta. Army life is so difficult, so intense. Where will I get the time for my sadhana, for my prachar, for my preaching? I won't be able to practice spiritual life. So he was lamenting like this. One lawyer friend of him, he came and he said, in the Israeli army, they have a rule. If somebody has spiritual practices to perform, the army will give them concession, give them certain time to fulfill their spiritual duties and then come practice, do the drills. So this person became very enthusiastic, this devotee, and he went. So first day he went and reported to his CO, commanding officer, and he told him, I've heard that there is a rule in your law book that if somebody has their spiritual practices, you will allow them some time. So the commanding officer, he said, yes, sure, I'll give you time. So what religion is it? Hinduism, Muslim, Christianity, Jew, what is it? So Jainism, what is it? So this devotee, he said, it is Gaudiya Vaishnava. I'm from Gaudiya Vaishnava religion branch. They said, hey, what religion is this? I've never heard of it. This Prabhu said, yeah, it's there and I need some time. He said, okay, fine. How much time do you need? He said, I need 4 hours. So he said, 4 hours? What are you going to do with 4 hours, man? What religious duty do you have for 4 hours? Right? And he said, no, I have my duty. I have Mangal Arti, I have Sandhya Arti, Shayana Arti, Bhoga Arti. I have to do Bhoga, give Naivedyam to the Lord, worship the Lord, bathe the deities. Then I have to give Bhagavatam class. And since nobody listens, I have to hear myself. I have to do all of these things. So very packed schedule. This man said, okay, seems like you have a lot of things. I don't understand it, but okay, you take 4 hours. So soon this devotee started taking 4 hours out. So every morning, 5 a.m. in that harsh weather, everybody is waking up and they're running, making rounds around the ground. And this devotee is peacefully sitting in the room, doing his Mangalarti, sitting down, closing his eyes, chanting japa. So all the other cadets, they became very envious. Hey, how is this? He's sitting peacefully, and these people are pulling us into this harsh training. So they spoke to their religious leaders, and they all went, approached this commanding officer, this colonel, and they told him, how are you giving him 4 hours? We also have a religion. We also want 4 hours. So the colonel said, you tell me, what will you do in 4 hours? In any religion you come from, what do you have for 4 hours? 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I can understand. What will you do for 4 hours? They said, yeah, that's okay. But what is he doing for 4 hours then? So the commanding officer, he said, I don't know what he's doing, but I see him. He's very, very sincere. He's doing something or the other all the time. He's not sleeping. He's either moving his hands like this, or he himself is moving around, or he's offering obeisances, or he's sitting and chanting and he's doing meditation, or he's dancing, raising his hands and dancing in the air. Something or the other he's doing. He's not sitting idle. So I know he's very sincere, right? So then these cadets, they go back. They're still envious, but they have no point. One day there was this class, compulsory class, where the boss of this colonel also had come, and this was a class about arms and ammunition, about weapon, right? Ammunition. So everybody were compulsory, they had to attend. So this devotee also came there. He attended this class, and in that class for 2 hours, the instructor, he spoke about how to use weapons and how to shoot the enemies. So then at the end of the class, he asked any questions. This devotee raised his hands and he said, I have a question. He said, what? And others were thinking, oh, question, huh? He doesn't come for any class. He has a question also. Okay, let's see. So then he raised his hand and he said, my question is, when you said you have to shoot the enemy and kill the enemy. But when you shoot the enemy, does the bullet hit the body of the enemy or the soul of the enemy? The instructor is like, hey, what is this body, soul, and all? Then this devotee is saying, if it doesn't hit the soul of the enemy and the soul is eternal, how can you kill the enemy? You can only kill the body of the enemy. And now this instructor, hello, sir, please, you go back to your room and do your spiritual practice. And he asked, so the devotee asked, oh, really? I don't have to attend these compulsory classes also? So commanding officer said, nothing, no classes for you. You just do your, spiritual practices. This devotee became very happy. And while he was leaving, the others who were there, the envious cadets, they stopped him and they asked him, hey, wait, man, whole day you're doing your spiritual practices. We don't know what you're doing, but you tell us one thing. We are in the army. If the enemy comes and if the enemy attacks you, if the enemy shoots you, what will you do? And this devotee said, if the enemy attacks me, I will chant Hare Krishna. Right? And then with faith, he said that and he walked away. And this devotee was so strong in his spiritual practice, right? Although he was very new, later on, this devotee went on to become His Holiness Danavir Goswami Maharaj, a very celebrated sannyasi of our movement, of our sampradaya. And His Holiness Danavir Goswami Maharaj, later on, he wrote a book, a short, humorous book, which recounts all the days that he spent in the Israel military getting trained as a cadet. He wrote all his memories there. And in that book, he writes that both the commanding officer, the colonel, and the boss of the colonel became initiated disciples of His Holiness Danavir Goswami Maharaj without knowing anything about Krishna, about Vaishnava Sampradaya, about Hinduism, nothing about Sanatan Dharma. Just by looking at the sincerity of Danvir Maharaj in extreme situations, they became devotees. So, coming back to the point, devotees, even when they face reversals in their life, things don't go as per their plan, still they are not affected. They continue in what they're doing. So many examples around us. Srila Prabhupada, His Holiness Jayapataka Goswami Maharaj, His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj. So many unlimited examples we have. So now the question is for us, what can we learn from them and how can we develop this mindset? That is where we come to the fifth lesson, right? There was this Avanti Brahmin who is mentioned in our Shastras, in our Puranas, and this Avanti Brahmin underwent a lot of miseries, lot of problems in his life, throughout his life. And at the end of the life, this Brahmin reflected upon his life and he thought, why did I suffer so much? And then he offers this prayer. Nayam Janova Sukha Dukkha Heto Na Devatatma Graha Karma Kala Mana Param Karana Mamananti Samsara Chakram Parivartiyatyat, which means Naham Janova, I did not Sukha Dukkha Heto, these happiness and miseries, distress, I did not receive because of other people. Naham Janova, not because of my relatives or other people. Na Devatatma, it was not given to me by the Devatas, by the demigods. Na Graha Karma Kala, it was not because of my planetary positions, my astrologies, or my bad time, or my karma. It was none of these things. It was Manaha Param Karanama Mananti. It was because of my mind, my own mind, the same mind which Samsara Chakram Parivartiyatyat, the same uncontrolled mind which is making me helplessly go round and round and round in circles inside this material world. That is the mind which is the main cause of all my miseries, right? So the real cause of pain or miseries in this material world for us is our mindset, our mentality, how we have tuned our mind, right? That is the fifth lesson. The sixth lesson is, how do we develop the right mindset then, right? So once there was this professor, this is a very famous social media reel. In YouTube, you can see this as well. There was this professor who comes into a class with a cup of water and he shows this to his students and he says, what is the weight of this glass that I'm holding? And they say that, students say 5 ounces, 10 ounces, 20 ounces. And the professor says, no, you're all wrong. The weight of this glass is not dependent on the water inside the glass. It is dependent on how long I am holding the glass. If I hold it for 5 minutes, it's not that heavy. But if I hold it for a day, it is so heavy that my arm will become numb, right? So the water inside the glass are the problems, the share of problems that we all have, right? And some of us might have more water in the glass, some of us might have less water. And people who have more water, they look at other people, their life, and they say, oh, he only has little water, very easy for him to hold, right? I chant Hare Krishna, still I have so much water, so many problems. What is this? But the point is that the weight of that glass is not at all dependent on the water. It is dependent on how long we are holding. So, which means how long we hold on to these problems, these miseries, that is what decides to what extent these problems will affect us, right? Uh, when the whole world is running after solving problems by changing the externals, which is true, which is required. But just thinking that I will change my external situation and circumstance and location and everything, and that will solve my problem is not the right way. That is very shallow way of solving a problem, right? Because the real root of the problem to solve is how do we solve it internally within us, right? And that is where we come to the seventh lesson. The seventh lesson is having the right expectation, right? So we all know this. We keep repeating this all the time that obstacles will come in our life, right? Obstacles will come in this material world. But when it comes, we get shocked, we get surprised. How can this happen? Yesterday only, it was very nice. He was so young. How can this happen? She was so nice. How can she go through this problem? Right? We get surprised. On one hand, we are convinced that problems will come, but when they actually come, we get shocked and we surprised. We get surprised. Right? Why? Because we think problems will come, but to others, not to me. When Yaksha asks Yudhishthir Maharaj, what is most surprising to you in this world? Yudhishthir Maharaj replies, Ahani ahani bhutani gachanti ha yamalayam seshah stavaram icchanti kim ascharyam atah param. Which means every day, every moment, we are seeing ahani ahani bhutani, all these living entities around us, gachanti ha yamalayam. One by one, they are all going to the abode of Yamaraj. They're all leaving their body and dying. But seshah, people who are left behind here, stavaram icchanti, they want to be fixed. The trees and plants are called stavaras because they don't move, they are immovables. So sesha stavaram icchanti, people who are left behind want to remain fixed in this material world, right? They don't want to go, and they have a hope that they will never go, they will never die. Kim ascharyam atah param, what can be more astonishing, right? So first, having the right expectations that problems will come, right? Now the next aspect, the eighth lesson is, when they come, how do we respond to it, right? How can our response be effective? So we've all played this game of Antakshari when we were young, right? So the other person sings a song, and whatever is the last syllable of their song, we have to sing another song starting from that syllable. That is how Antakshari is. Very simple, right? Now when we get a syllable, when we get a particular syllable, and we start thinking, what can I sing from this syllable? There, the time is ticking. All the other players, they're going tick tick one, tick tick two. We only have 10 seconds. We need to think of something. In that moment, we are fully focused on what can I sing from that syllable. We are not thinking about, Arey, why did I get this syllable? No, why did I get da, or why did I get ta? Sa is so much more easier. That person got sa. This Prabhuji got sa. Why did I not get sa? We don't think all that. We think, okay, I've got da. Now what can I sing from da? That is what we are completely absorbed in, right? Now, Krishna is Suhridam Sarvabhutanam. He is our dearmost friend. And being our friend, he likes playing games with us. So in life, he gives these syllables in the form of circumstances, in the form of problems, in the form of reversals, obstacles, roadblocks. He gives these syllables in our life. Now it is our duty whether we take the syllable and ask, Krishna, why are you giving this to me? And you're not giving this to other people. Either we can do that, or we can say, okay, Krishna, you have given this syllable to me. Using this syllable, whatever is the glory of you that I can sing, I will start singing. Starting from this syllable, I will sing that glory. No, I will offer prayers to you starting from this syllable that you have given to me. Which means, from the circumstance and the problem and the obstacle that you have given me, I'll use it as an opportunity to surrender even more to you and depend even more to you. Right. So this is our approach. Difference in our approach. It's very much, all of these things that I'm saying is very much easier said than done. But we have to constantly keep reminding ourselves that we have to do this, we have to do this. And we are undergoing misery at that moment. It is very difficult to reflect upon these things because we are right in the middle of action. At that time, we cannot reflect on these things, right? We have to act. So that is why, when now we have the opportunity, when things are okay, we are convenient, we have that flexibility, that option, we need to start thinking about these things and reflecting upon them, about how can we develop the right mindset and the right response, and not ask why me, but ask like, okay, now I'm here, what best can I do, right? There was this Wimbledon player, American tennis player by the name Arthur Ashe. He's a very famous personality, and this incident is quoted by all the people in the material world and devotees as well, right? Vrajavihari, His Grace Vrajavihari Prabhu, His Holiness Swayam Bhagwan Keshav Maharaj, and so many other devotees, His Grace Gauranga Prabhu, they all quote this example where this American black by the name Arthur Ashe, he won the Wimbledon and he won the US Open, he won the Australian Open. He was the first black person to win these Grand Slams. In 1993, when he was just about 50 years old, he contracted a cardiac problem. So, because of that cardiac problem, while treating that, the doctors also had to do blood transfusion. And while doing that blood transfusion, they made a mistake. And because of that mistake, Arthur Ashe contracted HIV. So the same treatment which was supposed to cure him, it got him a terminal disease, and he had very little time left. So all the fans were pouring in, they were giving him messages, they were all asking him, Arthur Ashe, how can this happen to you? You are our hero, you are our celebrity role model. How can you're such a nice person? How can this happen to you? Why did this happen to you? So Arthur Ashe responded to all of them by saying, see, in the entire world there are 5 million children who have a desire to play tennis in their life. Out of them, about 50 lakh children, they actually pick up a tennis racket, and out of them 5 lakh of them get trained professionally in tennis. Out of the 5 lakh, 5,000 of them pursue tennis as a profession, full time profession. Out of the 5,000, 500 of them enter into grand slams. Out of those 500 who participate in Grand Slams throughout the year, 50 of them make it to Wimbledon. Out of the 50, two of them make it to the finals. Out of the two, only one wins the cup. And that day when I was lifting the Wimbledon cup, I never looked at God and asked, why me? So today, when I'm going through pain and going through problem, with what face can I look at God and ask, why me? Right? So this is the attitude he had. And this is a very important lesson for all of us as well. This analogy of Antakshari, that when we are given a syllable, we can only think of what best we can do here, rather than thinking, why did I get this syllable? Right? This is the eighth letter. And now lesson. Now we'll go to the ninth lesson, right? Now we know that we have what expectation we need to set and how do we respond to these situations effectively. Now we think about how can we develop the mindset of an elevated devotee, like Prahlad Maharaj and all of these devotees we spoke about. So all these devotees, they understand three basic principles. First one, Krishna is the supreme controller. He is Sarvakarana Karanam, which means if we go to Krishna with a problem, Krishna is not going to say, oh, this problem is not under my jurisdiction, or this is beyond my control. I cannot do anything. I'm helpless. I'm sorry. You go talk to my manager. Like an SBI office, when you go, especially around lunchtime, they say you go here, you go there, you go there. It is never going to happen with Krishna. He is the cause of all causes, and not even a blade of grass cannot move without his will. Right? So my problem also, devotees understand, it has come through Krishna only. Krishna's sanction and Krishna's will is there in the circumstance that I'm receiving. And when they understand this, that Krishna is the supreme controller and cause of everything in this material and spiritual world, then just like when we stand in the queue for Charnamrit and we receive the Charnamrit, we don't ask, is this Charnamrit milk? Is it water? Is it honey? What is it? We don't ask. Whatever it is, we accept. We don't go drink Charnamrit, and Matajis don't go to the Pujari and say, Prabhuji, Charnamrit is very tasty. What was the recipe? In what proportion did you add the ingredients? Nobody says that, right? Whatever it is, we accept because it touched the lotus feet of the Lord. Similarly, devotees have faith that every situation in our life has touched the lotus feet of the Lord, and only by His will has come. So it is non-different from that Charnamrit, and we have to accept it, right? That's the first understanding devotees have. Second understanding is Krishna never makes a mistake. Right? Krishna's calculation, his system is perfect. He doesn't say, okay, inky, pinky, ponky, you suffer. Father had a donkey, you get a financial problem. He doesn't do that. He doesn't do it randomly, abruptly. Right? That is a heartless understanding of God. Everything God does is perfect. There is a calculation, right? There is some reason to it, some purpose to it. Right? This is the second thing devotees understand. That Krishna, first is Krishna supreme. Second, Krishna never makes mistakes. And third is, nobody loves us more than the Lord. Right? He is Suhridam Sarvabhutanam. He is the best well-wisher of all the living entities. Right? And in this world, we think that the mother's love is the best, the purest love, the highest love in this material world. But in our previous life, we were loved and cared for by some other mother. Then we left that body, came into the womb of this mother, and then we came out. And then this mother started taking care of us and loving us. But between the time when we left our body in the previous life, and then we came out of the mother's womb in this life, who took care of us? Who nourished us? And even after we come out, who's taking care of us? It is the Lord Himself, right? When the baby comes out, the food for the baby in the form of milk is readily available. That milk is not there before, it is not there after. Perfect. Everything is perfectly taken care of for the living entity by the Lord, right? So Krishna is nobody loves me more than the Lord. These three things devotees understand, and that is why they develop this what is called as lion consciousness, right? When a bone is thrown in front of a dog, the dog will only be absorbed in the bone. What is the size of the bone? What is the height of the bone? Dimensions of the bone? The juiciness of the bone? Completely absorbed in the bone, right? But when a bone is thrown in front of a lion, the lion will look at the bone, then it'll look at the person who threw the bone, and it will focus all concentration on the person who threw the bone, not on the bone. Right? Similarly, that bone is the problems that come in our life, the reversals, the difficult circumstances that come in our life. And materialistic people, they get completely absorbed in the problem. Oh my God, how can I solve this? Where can I go? Can I go here? Can I go there? What to do? Right? But devotees of the Lord who understand these three principles, Krishna is the supreme, Krishna doesn't make mistakes, and Krishna is my best well-wisher. They stop looking at the bone and look at the person who threw the bone, which is Krishna himself, the person who brought these circumstances in their life. And that is why, because of that lion consciousness, they develop faith in the Lord, right? His Holiness Bhakti Charuswami Maharaj, he gives a very beautiful analogy where Kunti Maharani, she prays to Krishna in the first canto, 8th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Vipadaha Shantuta Shashvat Tatra Tatra Jagat Guru Bhavato Darshanam Yat Syat Apunar Bhava Darshanam. She says, Vipadaha, problems, Shantuta Shashvat. Please give me problems again and again and again. Why? Because when the problems are there, we are getting your darshan. Bhavato yasyat, bhavato darshanam yasyat, apunarbhava darshanam. Right? That we are getting your darshan every time we have problems, and by having your darshan, we don't need to have darshan of this material world ever again. We don't need to enter the womb of mother ever again. So Kunti Maharani said, Krishna was leaving to Dwaraka, and she stopped him and she asked him, "Hello, where are you going?" He said, "I've solved all your problems. Your son is the king. All your children are safe. Your daughter-in-law is safe. You have Hastinapur. Why? What else do you need me? I'm going back to Dwaraka." Kunti Maharani said, "If problems are the criteria, the qualification for us to have your darshan and your association, I pray to you that please give me problems for eternity." Right? So this she's praying this to Krishna. Now you might think, how is this possible? How can somebody? We spoke about all the lessons and how to develop the mindset, but how can Kunti Maharani be so strong? His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj says, when a small child comes to the father picks up the child, and the small child is so loving, thinking that father will embrace me. But the father will pick up the child and throw the child in the air, 2 feet in the air. And the child is shocked. And then the father will catch the child. And he will do this again. They will play like this. But first time when the father throws the child in the air, the child gets like heart attack. What is this betrayal? I came here to be hugged and embraced and feel the love and affection of my father, but he threw me in the air like this. Oh my God, what is this? They're struggling. They're very, very, very scared. The child is very scared. But then he sees the father catches, and his heart becomes thak thak. It becomes a little calm, little soft. Then again the father throws. Again the child is very disturbed. But when this happened 2, 3 times, the child realizes, no matter what happens, my father will not leave me. He will always catch me. And this time the child will only ask, "Father, one more time, throw me again, throw me again. I want to play this, throw me again." Because he knows that every time father throws, no matter what the child does, the father will always catch the child. So this is what a devotee's mood is. That Krishna, being our supreme father, will throw us into the air. He will kick us around, right? He might do whatever, but he is the same person who will catch us also, right? And with that faith, because of that strong faith, they never get deviated. So the ninth lesson is this is the mindset of a devotee. And the 10th lesson, final lesson is that the moment we understand all of this and stop doubting Krishna's intention and his integrity, then we can remain joyful in the most difficult phases of life as well, right? For example, Uttara, when she lost her husband as a teenager, she lost Abhimanyu, right? And it was so bad that even the Pandavas could not do the last rites of Abhimanyu. Balram had to, come and assist because Pandavas were so shocked. Everybody were so shocked. Abhimanyu, small teenager, how can he be killed like this? And at that time, Uttara was carrying, she was pregnant. Imagine the trauma she would have gone through. And there, when the Brahmastra comes to her womb, she did not say, "Hey, what Krishna? He was there with Pandavas only. He did not protect." Right? When Yudhishthir Maharaj was gambling, he did not protect. Simply they say Krishna will protect, Krishna will protect. Krishna did not protect my husband. So I don't have faith in Krishna. Okay, any other Devi Devata or anybody, any Baba or anybody else here who is willing to accept my prayer and protect me? Uttara did not say that. Right? One of the first prayers of Bhagavatam is Uttara's prayers to Krishna. When Krishna was getting on his chariot, ready to leave, she says, Pahi Pahi Mahayogin Deva Deva Jagatpate. That, oh Krishna, please, if you may so desire, please protect me. Right? Guru Maharaj also recently, 2 days back, when he got the fever, the infection, he wrote a message on his app to all his disciples saying, please pray for me, please pray to the Lord that if you may so desire, by your sweet will, please protect my spiritual master. Right. So that is a very important lesson for the about how a devotee thinks, how a Vaishnava thinks, how they are always grateful to the Lord in all situations. Right. So these are the 10 lessons that we can take from. I'll quickly summarize this and then we'll wind up the pastime. First lesson is the material world hits us at a time when we are least expecting it to hit us. Second lesson, in this material world, we are playing this game, this war, in the home ground of Maya. So she's always stronger, and we should never let our guard down and become pride. Third lesson, in this world, there are some people who have the compassion to save us, but don't have capacity. Some have the capacity to save us, no compassion. Very few who have both compassion and capacity, but it is limited. It is only Krishna who has unlimited compassion and unlimited capacity to save us. So he should be our sole object of shelter. And the fourth lesson we learned is the spiritualists, they seem to have figured out something by which they are not affected by the problems in life. And the fifth lesson we learned is what is that difference? What is causing us the miseries and happiness? We realized it is our own mindset. And the sixth lesson we saw is what do we need to change, the external or the internal, right? Changing the amount of water in a glass is not going to affect the weight of the glass. The weight of the glass is affected by how long we hold it. So changing the externals will not help. Something internal needs to be changed. Then the seventh lesson is what is that internal? The first thing to change is not have wrong expectations. Always internalize this fact that in this material world, there will be obstacles. There will be miseries no matter what I do, right? And then the eighth lesson is when that misery comes, how do we respond to it effectively? And we discuss the analogy of Antakshari, that we think about what best we can do here rather than thinking, why me? And the ninth lesson is how can we develop the mindset of an elevated devotee? The devotee understands three principles. Krishna is the supreme controller, Krishna never makes mistakes, and Krishna is my dearest friend. And the 10th lesson we thought is that the moment we stop doubting Krishna's integrity and his intention, then we start seeing purpose in every situation of life. And the problems don't come in the way to Krishna. Problems show us the way to Krishna when we develop this mindset, right? So then these are the 10 lessons for us to learn. Now, Gajendra got caught like this, and all the Devi Devatas are watching, and the Gajendra for 1,000 years is stuck, and the pool of water, which was crystal clear, becomes filled with red blood. It was dense blood. It was everywhere, and Gajendra was almost going to die. In that moment, Gajendra speaks Sanskrit. Right? You can imagine the shock. And Gajendra himself is shocked. Where is this coming from? I don't know. An ignorant elephant. It has not attended any Gurukul. No elephant can speak Sanskrit. But it is speaking eloquent Sanskrit prayers. Where is this coming from? Because this Gajendra in the previous life was Indradyumna Maharaj. After ruling his kingdom very nicely, he retired responsibly, went to the forest, gave up everything, sat inside a hut, and he was sitting in the hut and he was meditating, completely absorbed in the Lord. There, Agastya Muni comes there and he gets offended that he comes there and this Kshatriya, Indradyumna Maharaj is not respecting him. He's not offering him a seat. So Agastya Muni gets very offended. Oh, you're showing this artificial show of devotion. You're imitating like this as if you're a great devotee. And I know you're, after all, just one Kshatriya. And when the sadhu comes, this is how you treat. Because you are so dull-headed and lazy and sitting in one place and not accepting me with enthusiasm and not even acknowledging my presence, I curse you to be a dull-headed elephant. Right? This is how Indradumna Maharaj got cursed. Very, very disproportionate punishment, right? Again, Bhagavatam is filled with disproportionate punishments, right? Ambarish Maharaj drank one drop of water and got cursed by, Durvasa Muni. A demon was created to kill Ambarish Maharaj. You might think, Arey, one drop of water, no? What is that? Parikshit Maharaj got cursed by Shringi for putting a dead snake on the neck of the sage, right? And so Parikshit Maharaj also very unfortunate, right? And Chitraketu Maharaj, so many pastimes like this, right? Where devotees get disproportionate punishment. They would have done something very small, but the punishment is huge. And we might think, why is the Lord doing this to them? But that is also Lord's protection only. Lord's protection is beyond our perception, right? Parikshit Maharaj got the curse. We might think Krishna did not protect Parikshit Maharaj from Takshak. He protected in the womb of Uttara, but not with Takshak. But then Parikshit Maharaj underwent that problem. But in that problem, he heard Bhagavatam and he gave Bhagavatam to the rest of the world. And when Parikshit Maharaj got the problem, he went back to Godhead in 7 days. Right? Indradumna Maharaj went back to Godhead in the next life as Gajendra. Right? Ambarish Maharaj got the mercy of the Lord within a few years when Durvasa Muni went and came back. Right? Chitraketu Maharaj took one more life as Vritrasura and he went back to Godhead. Bharat Maharaj took one more life as Jada Bharat, two more lives, and he went back to Godhead. Right? So this is the real protection. The real protection for living entities in this material world is to be free from the cycle of this material world and go back. Right? So Gajendra got reminded by the mercy of the Lord about these prayers and offered these beautiful prayers. The prayers of Gajendra, these are 28 verses. We'll not go into the prayers in the interest of time, but these prayers, the most striking aspect of these prayers is Gajendra offers these prayers saying, whoever is that supreme personality of Godhead, who's the controller, the cause of everything, who himself doesn't have a cause, and who is, by whose sanction and will everything happens, and he's the protector and the only sole shelter of every living entity in the material and spiritual creation. To that Supreme Lord, I offer these humble prayers and I request you to please protect me from the clutches of this crocodile. Right? In this way, Gajendra offers all his prayers, 28 verses. It's like sometimes we see these notices, no, which start with to whomsoever it may concern, and then the content. Gajendra's prayer was like that. I don't know what name, what form, what it is. Gajendra did not say Narsimha, Vamana, Varaha, Krishna, nothing. He said, whoever is that Supreme Lord, you please accept my prayer and protect me. Now, all the Devi Devatas, they were standing there surrounding in the sky, looking at Gajendra, and they were thinking, okay, these qualifications, they don't match us. Gajendra, the only person who matches the prayers of Gajendra is Vishnu. But Mahavishnu doesn't come when we pray. Why will he come when an elephant, ignorant elephant prays? Mahavishnu doesn't come so easily. So this fellow is not praying to us, and Mahavishnu will not come. He's praying to Mahavishnu, but Mahavishnu will not come easily. So let us see what happens to him. Let us see what is his fate. Devatas were waiting. And as they were discussing, right from the middle, right from the top of them, Mahavishnu descends in his Garuda Airlines. Just like we saw how the Lord appeared to Kardama Muni, seated on Garuda, the same way Mahavishnu appears, here. And Mahavishnu comes down. And the moment the Devatas look at Mahavishnu, Bhagavatam describes, immediately they realize we made an offense. We made an aparadh. And what was that aparadh? To think that the Lord will not protect his devotee who is praying for him is also an offense, right? Because Lord will protect. Avashya Rakshibe Krishna. Krishna will protect his devotees. We might not understand how he is protecting, but he will surely protect. And if you are thinking that, oh, simply this devotee is praying, nothing is going to happen, nobody is going to come, nobody will protect, that is also an offense. The Devatas learned, they made this offense. Immediately they came behind the Lord and they started offering their prayers, right? So by the prayer of one elephant, all 33 crore Devi Devatas started offering their prayers to Krishna. And only Krishna, Vishnu did not come. All the Devatas also came. And Vishnu came swooning down. And when Gajendra, with his teary eyes and that pain, saw from the corner of his eyes that Vishnu is coming in Garuda, he recognized that personality as Vishnu. He was thinking, what best can I do? So he picked up a lotus that was in that lake. He just picked up the lotus with that trunk and he offered it to Vishnu. And Vishnu, Mahavishnu, mercifully accepted that lotus. Another lesson for us is Gajendra, in that situation, in that problem, whatever best he could do, he did that. He did not tell the Lord, Krishna, just to protect me from this crocodile. After that, I promise you, I will offer the entire Trikuta mountain to you. He did not say that, which is generally what we say. Our prayers are, you just clear this problem, then you see the quality of my sadhana. I am going to chant so nicely, you will also get shocked. Or I will offer coconuts to you, or I will offer money to you, I will do parikrama to you, I will light lamps in your temple, I will do anything. You just give me this, right? Make this problem solved. Gajendra didn't do that. He didn't ask anything. Whatever in situation he was, the best he could do, he did that to Krishna. That's a very important lesson for all of us. And the success of Gajendra's offering lies in the fact that Mahavishnu accepted that offering, which means that offering was perfect, right? There was no defects in that offering. And Mahavishnu accepted, and from his hand, before he could even land, he could keep his feet on the ground, lotus feet. With the Sudarshan Chakra, he killed the crocodile. And he came down and he held the trunk of Gajendra and he pulled Gajendra out of the water. And just by the touch of Lord's hand on Gajendra's body transformed. He shed the body of an elephant and he got the body of a four-handed form of the Lord. Gajendra got Sarupya Mukti with a form that is same as the Lord, right? And then he sat with the Lord and he went back to the spiritual world with all the Devi Devatas celebrating and worshipping Gajendra, glory of Gajendra and glory of Mahavishnu. The Lord took Gajendra back, right? And that is why this section is called Gajendra Moksham, because Gajendra got liberation, delivered by the mercy of the Lord. Now, in all of this, I'll conclude by saying this. In all of this, we might say, Prabhuji, you explained that we should Krishna will always protect no matter what problem we are going through. It has come because of Krishna, and Krishna is equal to all living entities. He's Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. He'll always protect everybody. All of that is very nice. But here, Krishna only protected Gajendra. What about that Papa crocodile? He killed crocodile mercilessly, right? How can this be protection? If we are Gajendra, then we are okay. But if look at the perspective of the crocodile, right? How can we understand this? So when Krishna killed the crocodile, a spiritual being came out, a celestial entity came out from inside the body of the crocodile that was killed right now. And this was a cursed Gandharva king by the name Huhu. He was the king of all the Gandharvas. The moment this king Huhu came out, he offered his prayers to Mahavishnu and he offered obeisances to Mahavishnu. And why was he offering prayers and obeisances? Because this king in the past, he was once enjoying in the river with all his apsaras and all his queens and everything. He was enjoying in the river in the evening time. At that time, a very powerful sage by the name Devala Rishi was offering his evening pranams, right? And when the sage was offering, this king was so carried away in sense gratification, he didn't realize that his hand, it hit the leg of the sage who was offering his Gayatri. And Devala Rishi, he lost his balance and he fell inside the water. And Devala Rishi got up and he saw it was this king immersed in sense gratification. And Devala Rishi cursed him. Oh, you like pulling other people's feet from under the water? I curse you to be a crocodile. Immediately, King Huhu, he realized his mistake. He fell at the feet of Devala Rishi and he, showcased genuine remorse and guilt and asked for protection. Devala Rishi became very pleased and he tells him, don't worry, Mahavishnu will personally come to deliver you from your curse and put you back into your rightful position as the king of all the Gandharvas. So Krishna will come and protect you from this curse. Until then, you wait. Right? So now when Mahavishnu had come and killed this crocodile, the celestial entity King Huhu from inside came out. He offered his obeisances. He circumambulated Mahavishnu and he was personally escorted by Brahma and all the 33 crore Devi Devatas back into Gandharva Loka to be reinstated as the king of all the Gandharvas. So in this way, Krishna protected the crocodile also. Krishna protects everybody, right? He doesn't have any distinction. It is like if I'm eating food and I bite my tongue while eating food. Many of us have done this. When we bite our tongue, we might think, then at that time, if you think, it's very painful, right? Especially if our teeth is sharp and we bite our tongue, it's very, very painful. We are so agitated. At that moment, whose fault is it? Is it the fault of the teeth or is it the fault of the tongue, right? The answer is it is nobody's fault, right? What punishment will we give to the teeth or what punishment will we give to the tongue? We can't give any punishment to the teeth or the tongue because both the teeth and tongue belong to me only. What punishment will I give? Similarly, if a one living entity does a mistake or falls down or commits some aparad which hurts the other living entity or causes trouble to other living entities, Krishna has to proportionately deal with them. But both the living entities belong to Krishna only. What punishment will he give? So in that punishment also hidden lies the purification, the the blessing, the protection for that living entity. Like in the whole episode of Govardhan Leela, we think Krishna protected the Vrajavasis from the reign of Indra, but Krishna became angry on Indra, and Indra had to come and apologize. Right? So Krishna showed anger and he protected the devotees, but he punished Indra. But actually, Krishna protected Indra also. How? Krishna protected the Vrajavasis from the reign of Indra, and Krishna protected Indra from the pride of Indra. That Anartha was going to engulf him and completely lead to his downfall. Krishna protected him from his own Anartha. So in this way, Krishna's protection is very difficult to perceive, and but if we just have this faith that Krishna will protect us at all times and circumstances, and develop those mindset that we all discussed, then there is some hope that we can sustain the difficulties, the reversals that we face in our life. And going back to our verse, our chapter for today, third canto, 22nd chapter, where Bhagavatam, third canto, 27th verse describes how Swayambhu Manu was so absorbed in the Lord, and because of that, he had transcended the miseries of this world. The miseries of this world could not bind him anymore. So even we can practice our devotional life, our sadhana, our chanting, our japa in such an absorbed manner that we also elevate our consciousness and develop that mindset, right? So in the next week, in the 23rd verse, we are going to see further about what happens in the grahastha life, in the married life of Mother Devahuti and Kardama Muni, right? We'll see all of that, but we'll pause here. And before ending, I'll just share that we all know this very recently. A very strong, stalwart devotee of our congregation, His Grace Sanatan Baldev Prabhu, he left. He made us bereft of his association. He left his body and perfected his human form of life and went back to Godhead. Right? In a matter of half a day, he was so strong. He was given the name Sanatan Baladev. He was truly the pillar of strength for all the devotees, right? And to just imagine that tomorrow, Sunday or any other Sunday, we go to the temple and we'll not be greeted by his smiley, jovial face with the prasadam coupon in his hand, giving it to all of us. It's very difficult to digest. And if it is so difficult for us who used to meet him once a week or have this interaction with him, what about the devotees who were constantly getting his association and feeling nourished by his service? And what about that Mataji who, she had constant companionship and protection of, right? So it's unimaginable to even think about it. So, but still, in all of this, right? We just spoke about how a devotee can develop the mood and the mindset to be Krishna consciousness, even Krishna conscious, even in the time of difficulties, in the time of reversals. So I'll just share this one incident that I've heard. When the Mataji got to know that her Prabhu Sanatan Baldev Prabhu has left his body, she was in the hospital. And when she got to know 10 minutes later that her Prabhu was left, I've heard that Mataji, she offered her obeisances in that hospital only. She offered her obeisances and she chanted Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyasya. She chanted the pranam mantra and she thanked Prabhu, saying, as long as you were alive, you took care of me and you protected me and you nourished me. So thanks a lot. Thank you so much for that. And then she broke down. She's very emotional. She broke down, right? But she had that maturity and that mindset to do this even in that reversal. How is this possible if not for the practice of bhakti, if not for so many years that she has dedicated to Krishna, that both of them had dedicated to the Lord and devotees, right? Even when we went to see the body of Prabhu, the mortal remains, and we all were offering obeisances, we were seeing Kirtan was going on, that Mataji was uncontrollable. She was looking at inside the box and she was crying, Prabhu, my Prabhu, where are you? Where are you? She was crying. She was so devastated. But all throughout, she had her japa bag in her hand. She had the bead bag. She never left the bead bag in her left hand throughout. And while she was breaking down, in the middle, when she was not breaking down, she was also singing the kirtan along with the devotees who were singing, right? So all of these are unimaginable situations in our life. And if you're thinking that, okay, this happened with that Prabhu, it won't happen with me, I will be very careful, I will protect myself, then like we discussed in the class today, that's not the right mindset to have. So firstly, we'll all offer our sincere heartfelt prayers, and if we can chant and we can offer prayers to the departed soul of His Grace Sanatan Baldev Prabhu to get eternal shelter in the lotus feet of the Lord, and seek blessings from Sanatan Baldev Prabhu so that we may also walk in his footsteps, to always remain jovial in Krishna consciousness, find pleasure and happiness in the simple moments of life, be kind to everybody, and at the highest priority of life, make that as service to the Lord and his devotees, right? So with that, I'll stop our session for today. It's I think it's late and we also have a program after this. So I don't know if we have time for any questions, but Soumya Prabhu, maybe you can take over.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you very much for the wonderful session. I think had we had this session live, I think in person, I think there would have been a lot of claps and probably standing ovation. You wonderfully put the pastime of Gajendra, and you wonderfully brought down all the 10 learning points, which are very very practical. Actually, I think that is the essence of Bhagavatam, no? Reading Bhagavatam, knowing Bhagavatam is to follow those 10 points which you have jotted down for us. Thank you very much, Prabhu. So I think in interest of time, because we also have another program where we everybody is supposed to reach by 9 a.m. So I think we will stop here. Will not take any questions. My apologies, like if anybody had any questions and they wanted to ask. Uh, so Premadat Prabhu, you have anything to announce or speak before we wind up?
No, only